call.
I'm just saying because maybe Chopper bookmarked
Parker?
it already.
Here. Misselinich.
Here.
Bergen.
Here.
Zittergrun. Chisel. Whittle.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Just want to welcome everyone this evening. Thank you to the J-term Luther class that's here. Quite a large crowd tonight. It's exciting that you guys get to be here. Hopefully this isn't too long of a meeting, but we'll see. If there's anyone who wishes to address the council as a whole on any matter, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and address. You'll have up to 3 minutes.
Shocked, yeah. I'm Jim Beakley. I live at 900 Walnut Street, down south of Phelps Park, about 2 blocks south of the picnic grounds. And Walnut Street well, there's 2 streets that extend out into the Bruning addition. One of them is Linden Street, the other is Walnut Street. But where Walnut Street comes back east across to Park Street, which is the north-south street there, there's one more block of Walnut Street that's not in the Bruning addition. And that's where I live. And I live on the east end of it on the north side. There's a child care center across the street from us that has a fair amount of traffic there every day, people dropping their children off and picking them up, and which we support that operation because she does a really good job, and she's been there about 10 years, and so. But I just thought a lot of people you might be familiar with that, being a child care center there. But what I'm here to talk about is the condition of the street. It has a lot of potholes in it, chuck holes, whatever you want to call them. But I think probably you'd have to try pretty hard to find a street in Decorah that would compare with it. It's that bad. And so that's the purpose of my appearing tonight, is just to draw that to your attention and ask you for your consideration and maybe improving the quality of the street. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the council this evening?
Hi, I'm Carly Hayden Foster. I live at 109 Rural Avenue, and I just want to say thank you all for making space for us and welcoming this J-term class. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, hearing none, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. We're all set, need to. Does this work? Pictures before, after, or during? All the above.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I, Johanna, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability,
and I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties of councilperson
discharge all the duties of councilperson
in the city of Decorah, Iowa, as now or hereafter required by law.
in the city of Decorah, Iowa, as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations.
All right, at this time, would the city manager, department heads, and council like to share their reports?
All right, couple things from me tonight. One, the contractor, Skylight Construction on the Decorah Athletic Complex, reached out to them about their interest in possibly change ordering in the additional quantities to get the full build out now that we've secured the additional $1 million CAC grant, as well as the $500,000 in naming rights. So while they're working on that, we're in this upcoming week or so, if you'd give me some feedback on your thoughts on ISG's participation for the design, I'd like to reach out to them about draft of a scope of services agreement amendment to move forward with the rest of the design elements. So the building itself, we're gonna have to competitively bid that. That requires architectural drawings. Even if we don't have another bid on Ball Field 4 and the other components, if Skyline's willing to change order those in, we are still gonna have to get architectural work on the building itself. So please let me know your thoughts on ISG's participation there, or if you'd like us to go back out to a selection process. Budget preparation well underway. Department heads have submitted all that stuff to Carrie. Carrie's wrapping up compiling those. My intentions are to go through the rest of this week as well, sit down with individual department heads next week on what I intend to propose to council for a draft starting point on the budget, and intend to have that sent out to all of council Friday next 16th. Yes, thank you. Friday next week. Next Monday, January 12th, is also the first day of the 2026 Iowa legislative session. So obviously there's a lot of discussion about what's on the table this year. We're being told property tax reform version 6, 7, whatever rendition we're on at this point, is going to happen again this year. So we are paying close attention to that. As well as others, I know others in this room attended a legislative forum that both Senator Clemish and Representative Bergen attended, that Upper Explorer Land hosted. Couple of different items that's on the table this year, but property tax reform is by far the biggest. I emphasize with them, I am a resource. Reach out if you have any questions. Again, we can be partners in what property tax reform looks like. It doesn't need to be so unilaterally driven. Seem to be fairly well received. That's all I have.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Any department heads? Any council members like to share?
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
Do you want us to go in order?
Do you want us to go in order, or you want us to just? Usually there's a name, but I'm happy to jump in. Let me pull up my notes here. Having some technical difficulties. No, but I hope everyone had a restful holiday season and a new year. New year always sparks that time to think about things. And so 2 things on my mind that I just want to put out for council thought. And I wrote Travis for a text like, okay, I'm going to tell you this, just put it on a back burner. But I think that this would be the year that might be a nice time to think about some county partnerships and actually inviting the Board of Supervisors to have a joint meeting to discuss some ways that we might partner on some projects. A couple projects I have in mind or ideas. One, I think we need to revisit with our fire partners and think about upcoming bond for next year and what we're going to do with the fire station, and invite the county into that conversation early this year. And then also interested in thinking about county partnership with some water quality sensors on the Upper Iowa River and around the county, and what that might look like for some partnership there. So just in my list of what I'd like to see happen this year, those were 2 things that came up, and I'd really like to have council work on those partnerships with other government entities. That's what's been on my mind.
I just want to say that I hope everybody had great holiday break, and I'm eager to start a new year, and I'm proud to serve the city of Decorah again for another term. Taking the oath this time, as well as the same time last year, to support the Constitution. I couldn't stand for the pledge today. Just to take the oath to defend the Constitution while it's continuously violated and disregarded is frustrating, to have so little power to control that or to add anything to it. And I love the words that this country was founded on and the people that I live in it with. and I have the utmost respect for our veterans and what the flag is supposed to stand for. But I'm a principled man and an honest elected official, and for me to stand under the current circumstances would be neither principled nor honest. So I apologize to anybody that may take offense to that, but that's just the stand I have to take. That's all.
Cody? Christopher?
Yeah, so, just kind of synapsing on Emily's comments, I think, something that we could do great on this year is having those, collaborations with other local bodies, but also the community in a whole, and in conversations with a few other council members. One thing that I just wanted to put out there, personally in my own capacity, I released a community input form this last weekend for individuals within the community that feel free to fill out. Just want to echo that, all of those ideas that are submitted can't necessarily be acted on because we make decisions collectively as a whole elected body, but it gives us a great sense of what matters in our community. So just feel free to take a look, and if you want to fill it out, you're more than welcome to as well.
Yeah, just want to say welcome to 2026. I'm excited to get started for this year, and welcome back to the council members that have left and have came back, and who didn't really leave but came back again.
Thank you.
And then our new mayor, who was on the council and coming back as mayor in a different capacity. So I'm super excited about that, and congratulations.
Thank you. Johanna?
Awesome. Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Really excited to be here, and just a huge thank you to Decorah community members for voting me back on council. It feels really fun and energizing to be here. I'm ready to learn and engage. We met with some Luther students, some of whom are here this morning, and I got asked a question about what's different this time. And I've been thinking about that all day, and I'm really excited to just deepen community engagement and communication and getting out and hearing from people that don't often want to show up in this room, which is hard to get to and very hot. I would invite folks who have things that you'd like to have City Council think about, like send me a podcast or a book recommendation or talk to me. I'm just really excited to expand perspectives. And I ran to be on City Council in Decorah because I believe this is a community that can have a space for everyone here to belong and to thrive. And I want to be part of making that happen. One part of that vision for me is that everyone has at least one third space, and hopefully many third spaces to go. So that place that's not school or work or your home, but it might be the Water Street Park or the library or a local church community. And I'd love to bring energy here to creatively invest our resources, which are often not money and are more often communication, partnership, creativity, to make more of those spaces. So let's build a strong town together. I'm excited to be with you all, really ready to serve. And then the last thing that I want to share is that it is probable that this state legislative session contains many pieces of legislation that is going to affect our way of living in town. And so as someone who is here to think mostly about local Decorah issues, I have my ears wide open to what's happening in Des Moines. And so for those of you that are interested in engaging with us, I'd encourage you this year specifically to also engage with your state elected officials, because there's a lot on the agenda that is being put out by both the House and the Senate that could really change how we finance and operate in Decorah. So thanks for being great community civic engagement people with me.
That's tough to follow up. I just want to thank everyone as well. Appreciate all the support. I look forward to leading and listening. I have my cell number on the city website if you ever need to call. I may not be a voting member, but I can also put things on the agenda and hopefully steer things in the direction that is best for Decorah. So that is why I'm here, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Don't be shy. I also do want to just bring up the point that our council got a lot younger. We no longer have 2 members that were retired, so I think most of us up here have.
What are you saying?
Sorry, Randy. I wasn't throwing shade at you, Randy.
This could be the youngest council that Decorah
Yeah,
has
and
ever
so
had.
I think most of us are working 9 to 5s here and have full-time jobs. I've been asked to do a lot so far, and I've been honored that to be considered for some of these things, but I do need to remind people that most of us have jobs, and if we can work around those, I'm more than happy to do a lot of things. And I think most of the council here is also willing to. So if you can work with us, I think we're more than happy to try to accommodate. So I just wanted to throw that reminder out there as well.
20 years ago, it was a yacht lender, too.
You know what? I just realized that I'm adding to the old people's.
So thanks again. Consent agenda.
Item A, minutes of the December 15, 2025 council meeting. B, claims. C, Decorah 2025 flood repairs Locust Road pay application number 1. D, wastewater treatment plant improvements pay application number 2. E, appointment of Jeff Clement as fire chief, Mike Ashbacker as first assistant chief, and Kyle Coles as second assistant chief per city code 2.14.020. F, approve Decorah Leader as the official newspaper for City of Decorah. G, mayoral appointment of Mayor Pro Tempore Randy Chisel. H, setting January 20, 2026 as next city council meeting due to Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I, special class C retail alcohol license renewal, Mabes Pizza. And J, reappointment of Jarita Bollock Burrison to Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'd move for approval as presented.
I'll second.
Motion made by Chisel, seconded by Masilinich. Any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call.
Chisel.
Aye.
Miscelinich.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Bergen.
Aye.
Whittle.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Motion carried. Consent agenda has been approved. Item number 7, consider ordinance amending chapter 12.44 of the Decorah Municipal Code regarding snow and ice accumulation, second reading.
Okay, so staff has drafted an ordinance to bolster what's already an existing requirement of removing snow and ice accumulations from sidewalks within 24 hours. The prohibition of placing snow in the street is also already in effect. The draft ordinance gives clear guidance on enforcement, saying that once provided notice that the property owner is in violation, they have 24 hours to remove the snow and ice, or the city will remove it and then send an invoice for the costs incurred and include an additional $20 administrative fee. So a person who receives such a billing may appear for a hearing with the city council if they feel that they have incorrectly been charged these costs at least 15 days after mailing. As a side note, the city did put out requests for proposals from contractors and did receive one, so we do have a list of one contractor that we will be able to be a little bit more effective on the enforcement side of things instead of continuously making contact and begging and pleading people to please remove the snow and ice. This is the second reading. There have been no comments or anything received by City Hall staff.
I'd move for approval of the second reading.
I second.
Motion, oh, sorry, Joanna.
Yeah, you do your job.
Nope, I was going to say, motion by Chisel, seconded by Whittle.
Travis, can we just clarify for the public that what's in ordinance currently is that property owners are responsible for removing snow on their sidewalks within 24 hours
Correct.
and to not put it in the street?
Correct. The only thing of substance that's proposed to change is that $20 administrative fee associated with if we have to hire a contractor, facilitate that, send billing to this home, plus we've got to pay the contractor, so that contractor's doing the work for the city, and we turn around and bill the homeowner. That's where that $20 administrative fee comes into play. It's not to make us rich, I assure you that. It's to try and offset the costs associated with this
Sure.
directly to the property.
Yeah. Thank you, and I think you all undervalue your time with just $20. How, just like some order of magnitude, like how many complaints do we receive of unshoveled sidewalks?
I'm gonna say maybe 20 to 30 separate properties. Would that be about right, Greg?
Yeah, 10, 20, 25, but a lot of them are repeated
Are repeats, yeah, okay, thank you.
But at $175 an hour, which is the one bid response we received, half-hour minimum bill, 15-hour increments. Now, keep in mind, this contractor's not going to be removing snow or ice until it's probably been walked on for 2-3+ days. Because you have 24 hours to remove it, we notify you and say you haven't done it yet, you have another 24 hours to remove it. You fail to do that, we then reach out to the contractor and say, all right, we need you to remove it from them. They have 24 hours to respond that they can, and then 24 hours to actually do it. So like I said, this could be a somewhat drawn-out process, but we do have to give due process to the property owner as well to make sure that they have adequate notice to remove the snow.
I'm also curious, Greg, are these out-of-state homeowners that aren't here frequently enough, or?
Few of them.
Few of them.
Some of them are just like rental owners.
Okay.
Or properties that nobody's living in, they just don't care.
Okay. Yep. Any
And when we
further-
say snow event is 24 hours after the snow stops falling, I'm assuming?
Yeah, and in all practicality, if it stops snowing at 6-7 o'clock at night, we're not on staff 24/7, so that's not going to be enforced until not just the day after, but the day after that. We've got to give at least 24 hours from the end of the snowfall event before we can tag.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate this, and I live in a neighborhood that many of us shovel late. So I appreciate just the reminder for us all to be responsible. And then just a gentle call out to everyone that you could all be a fish, that's Mark Falden, and shovel your neighbor's yard if they need a little bit of help.
Did she just volunteer you to come and shovel everyone's yard?
No, he already shovels like the whole neighborhood.
So along that note, the Sustainability Commission has discussed, I want to say 2 months now, we don't currently have this program established. I'm not aware of another similar within Decorah, but the city of Dubuque has, I think they call it Snow Angels or something very catchy like that. I'm not good enough to come up with a name like that, where you can sign up to be a fish and go ahead and say, hey, if there is somebody in need, an elderly individual, which, to be very honest with you, usually it's not elderly individuals, it's not the disabled that we're having issues with, as pointed out before. But if there is somebody and you are unable to do it, you can reach out to this group and a volunteer will come and help you out. So if you are interested in participating in something like that, if you want to call City Hall, reach out to me. Let me know that's something you're interested in. I can pass that information along to this group as it formalizes.
I also wonder if we could talk to the high school about the Silver Cord program, which is volunteer. They do volunteer work around the community as well. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Chisel.
Aye.
Whittle.
Aye.
Miscelinich.
Aye.
Bergen.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Second reading passes. Moving on to the next agenda item.
I make a motion that we waive the third and adopt.
Second.
Motion by Neal, seconded by Bergen. Roll call.
Neal.
Aye.
Bergen.
Aye.
Chisel.
Aye.
Whittle.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Miscelinich.
Aye.
Third reading passes and adopted. Next agenda item, discussion and possible action on MOU with Winnebago County regarding recycling containers. Travis, can you give background, please?
Yes, so staff has met with Winnebago County representatives on possible solution to relocation of the recycle bins, which are currently located at the future site of the new elementary school. Construction is set to begin this spring. The area north of the Army Reserve Center, back here, was proposed by city staff with fencing nearly completely around the property that would help catch any debris that would be blown around. Plenty of space for the current number of bins and still centrally located while having less prominent visibility, which was actually a comment we often heard, was about their visual prominence in their current location. So during those staff discussions, it's noted that this is a site that we are actively working on a potential housing project, and that the entire area is still up in the air on fire station municipal complex discussions. So this proposed MOU is meant to memorialize the expectations of both parties over this temporary solution, which we do expect to be at least 2 years. It does allow for termination by either party. This was just recently updated, so if you saw it originally when it went in the packet on Friday, this has been updated. It used to refer to 30 days. It's actually now 120 days written notice to give a little bit more lead time, because as we're well aware, it takes a little bit of time to figure out where you're going to put them in the future, right? So the city's responsibility would be limited to snow removal. The county would be required for the gravel maintenance itself, for the debris pickup, things like that. The city's providing the space and snow removal. Let's see. I note in the background again, additional updated language includes, increasing the number of recycle bins. There's currently 9 out there. So that was referred to in the previous document, was requested to up it to 10 in the agreement. So it is proposed to up to 10. And during the discussions, we talked about, we actually offered some solutions to a camera on site to help collect images for illegal dumping. And we're going to memorialize it in the document that says, yes, you can go ahead and put a security camera up in site. So that agreement also has an attachment, also nice little drawing to show the area we're talking about if you weren't otherwise familiar.
It sounds like city staff recommendation is that this is a workable situation. Do you feel like the county was also amenable? Do we feel positive about it?
Yeah, actually, we had a one meeting with 2 county supervisors and some staff, and honestly, I think we all had agreeable solution before we came to the meeting itself. And yeah, I think this is a great solution. Again, the problem is it is a bit temporary. If we can, I think we'd be hard pressed to find anyone that says, no, keep the recycle bins there, forget we're about working on a housing project. So I don't, and I say that even the county also agreed that, hey, if we can come up with a housing solution back there, that's a good solution. So yeah, I think it's a good spot.
I know when I found out about it, I came to you and said, hey, what are we going to do about this here? We got it solved. We're good. So I was very pleased to hear that. And I think this sounds like a good spot for it temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the other projects go through before that 2-year period, I'm sure that within 120 days we can figure something else out. So I also agree it's a good solution.
I was going to say, will there be ongoing active thought in terms of where they're going to go permanently or more permanently than this? So I'd hate to see sort of like, all right, we have a solution and then it just be dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So just keeping it in the forefront of like, this has to be solved at some point.
Yeah. And 2 years also gives time to evaluate, the number of bins, how things are collected. There's also some potential changes within that 2-year time period as well.
Yeah, no, I would also agree with kind of what Emily said. I think we just need to keep on the forefront of that evaluation of what's in the future, because, we're at this point now, but we also sold that land to the school, how much prior to us coming to this agreement as well, and what they're moving towards now. So just keeping that in a forefront. Also wanted to commend, both applicable groups, both county and city, for having the conversations and coming to a resolution that's going to benefit the community for now. And actually, I think you solved my one reservation, as well as some concerns that I've heard from some other people just in regards to putting that camera up, because even right now you can say, to an extent you're going to handle that excess stuff that's thrown out there, but I think a lot of people in the community do that right now. And then there's been some concern raised with a lot of people, to myself, whether it be in person or via email, that they just felt like it wasn't getting taken care of always in the most prompt manner. But I feel like if we have some sort of mechanism in place, I think maybe that'll, hopefully deter it more than it is now. So.
And I know Winship County Recycling as of late has been prosecuting some illegal dumpings they've had out there. They've seemed to have it figured out a good method with capturing the video. And so we're looking to replicate very similar here. Yeah, we don't want illegal dumping back there either.
I know I should have it memorized, but correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe that there is an initiative within the sustainability plan to look at piloting curbside recycling and composting. Did that remain in there? And
It is still in there. That's, again, one of the things I was kind of alluding to, that 2 years also gives time to evaluate the collection method and how that works.
Okay.
Maybe plug that maybe some people in this room don't know. Brown paper bags go in the cardboard recycling, not paper. Anything else, Mark? That's
if
the
you
main
tear
one.
it and it's white, it goes in paper. If you tear it and it's brown, it's cardboard.
I'll
Good to
be
know.
honest, I actually didn't know that, so that's what I thought.
Where
I
do you
would
put
share.
your egg
news to
cartons,
me.
Travis?
On Leslie's desk.
Touche.
That's a good question, though. Where do we put the egg
paper.
cartons?
Cardboard, right?
Find a farmer to give them to.
Nailed it.
So if we're in amicable agreement, are you looking for potential action?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval on the MOU with Winship County regarding recycling containers.
I will second.
Motion by Masilinish, seconded by Whittle. Roll call.
Ms. Linich.
Aye.
Whittle.
Aye.
Chisel.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Bergen.
Aye.
Motion passed. Moving on, discussion on request from Northeast Iowa Montessori School. Background, Travis?
Yes, so this item on the agenda is discussion. There's no possible action because if action wants to be taken, there's a series of steps we have to take, P&Z review, recommendation, so no action can be taken tonight. The city's received a request from Northeast Iowa Montessori School on a potential land lease or sale of city-owned land and right-of-way adjacent to their property between Dry Run Creek and South Avenue. Northeast Iowa Montessori is looking to expand and upgrade its current playground, which also sits between Dry Run and South on that same side. Discussion will be used to determine council's interest on that potential for a right-of-way vacation and/or sale of city-owned land, or a potential longer-term lease agreement for the area. That is the staff's recommendation. Should council want to consider one of those two, I would highly recommend it's a long-term lease agreement. If desired, staff would work with Northeast Iowa Montessori on agreeable terms that would then be sent to Planning and Zoning Commission for their recommendation as required by code. And then council would also need to set and hold a public hearing prior to the sale or long-term lease of city-owned land. I do believe we have representation from Northeast Iowa Montessori as well in attendance. I know one further communication was sent and then a response received back, asking about if there was a desire or willingness for Montessori to allow the public's use of this playground space. And they were open to that discussion. However, of course, being, similar to the conversation we had about the school, during hours of operation, they have requirements that it needs to be fenced and secured, so similar rules would apply.
I think this is a great idea. I think it's a fantastic use of land and a great partnership, and help furthers our goals of providing quality childcare in the area. I do have a question for you. Why is the staff preference for a long-term lease and not a sale?
So one of the things is it's adjacent to Dry Run Creek, which can meander. And so unfortunately, as potentially that, not bluff, bank, Dry Run Creek bank, if that were to slough off and stuff, we still need to own and maintain that for stormwater management practices. That's why we want to own as much of that corridor as possible is for stormwater management practices. Now, do we want to simply mow and maintain a section of right-of-way that's never going to have a box culvert across it to the south? Not necessarily, but we do want to have the ability that if we need to go in there for that type of essential corporate purpose, or even potentially a general corporate purpose. You know, that was an area identified for dedicated bike trails, for example. So if we don't want to overextend this land lease, and do a sale, if we did a land lease that allowed for either general corporate purpose or essential corporate purpose for the city, that we could terminate the lease, that's a way we could structure it for a longer period of time and say, listen, the only time this is only gonna come up is if we have to get in there and do work. There's no water or sewer infrastructure underground on that side. It's on the north side of South Avenue. No fiber should need, I would not expect any fiber to be put on the south side because there's no properties to connect to on the south side. So again, the only things that I could foresee that could potentially come up would be stormwater management practices or bicycle pedestrian type improvements, which I think the school would also be appreciative of.
And so that can't be accomplished through a right-of-way easement, is what you're saying? It's better to have the lease?
I don't know that an easement would, because an easement's perpetual. And so what that would do is grant them rights to the land regardless of whether we have ownership and have to do something on it for general or essential corporate purpose. Right, John?
Yeah, you could make a lease or a easement non-perpetual. I mean, normally it is perpetual, and you could have it terminate similar to a lease. But I think if the idea is this is not going to be necessarily permanent, I think a lease just is more recognized under the law in this type of scenario, and that would be the preferred way to go.
And it won't limit their ability to build their playgrounds as they see fit. The lease wouldn't.
The only thing that I would caution is, again, with the essential corporate purpose or general corporate purpose, is if we do have to terminate the lease for one of those two, that maybe don't fence an area that you don't want to necessarily have to relocate. Or if you're going to put a climbing structure, maybe don't put it there. Put it on the other side where you own and make this more the green space type playground area, which I believe was the intent.
Okay. I mean, as I said, I'm 100% supportive. If we go with the lease, I just want to make sure that we are working with Montessori to understand like the area that we would need so that they could build accordingly and have it be a win for them as well. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, if you look at the exhibit included in Dropbox, you know, in there, they're just exhibits. They're not legal documents with legal descriptions or anything, but the overlay of the dash line on, actually, I'll do a share screen quick so everybody online can see as well. All right, so here's the dry run corridor, and as that, if that is to meander, this line here, probably don't want to have too much permanent structure too close to that.
Right.
We want to be able to get in there and maintain that space. Based on their proposal, they'd like to use it also as an educational component about the dry run and different environmental aspects of it, but that's pretty close to do anything with a land sale or an easement that's not limited, that is perpetual.
Are they planning on keeping the asphalt that they own as it is, or is there plans to tear that up? Do you know?
Based on some of these mock-ups, this would be the current asphalt space on the far, well, this would be the east side of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And then it transitions right about, I want to say right about here, because you can see here's the intersection. So right about here, I'd say it transitions. No, it actually extends into the right of way, now that I say that.
Andy, are you open for us hearing from Rachel or somebody else? from the
Yeah,
school?
absolutely. Would anyone from Montessori like to come forward and possibly have a discussion with us?
Scott's
Scott,
the
thank
lucky
you.
one.
Anyone have any questions they'd like to ask Scott
Yeah, any,
directly?
Yeah, I guess I'm curious, as you hear us talking about a long-term lease versus land sale, I personally lean towards a long-term lease, just for clarification. Does that inhibit your plans? Does that choice matter to you? Can you make
I
the
don't think
build?
it does as far as we understand the scope of it at this point. As we were looking at doing the play space anyway and taking it away from just that blacktop, what used to be parking lot, into something more natural, this kind of came about as something worth talking about. So really, we shot it to you all so that we could start a conversation, and then hopefully, if it's something that is worth talking about, we can come up with a plan that serves both, right? That makes it the best scenario for Montessori, and at the same time, something that's workable within the city and its needs.
So if you had indication from us that we would be open to a long-term lease, say, then when you go back and finalize your documents and start moving through the process, you could do that being mindful of where you put permanent structures or how you
Yeah,
want to
knowing
invest.
knowing what limitations and trade-offs would come from a lease versus a sale would help guide us in how we structure things. Yeah, absolutely. And then knowing, ultimately going through P&Z and all the other different steps in the process, this will be it's intended to be a phased transformation anyway. We're not looking to do this entire scope in the course of like the next year or something like that. So it would first make it not a parking lot, and then work towards something like this with the input of all of you.
Okay, one other question. As you heard, I think via email communication, there's interest, I think, for all of us, city land, public access, we all want more parks. So with the understanding that during school hours, you'd want that to be utilized fully, how is the board thinking about being open to having public access on the weekends or evenings?
As we're looking at it right now, that's our intention, is to be consistent with school play spaces in the community. We haven't gone down every single conversation with our insurance company and that type of stuff. So barring anything like that, I think I mentioned to Mayor Andy that that's a problem that's been solved by other schools. So I would presume it's a solvable problem.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Anyone else?
No questions.
Thank you.
Can I ask John a question? Is there I don't want to assume. I'm thinking that there's alignment likely between education requirements for playground safety equipment that are in line with what our Park and Rec would do. I'm wondering if we take on increased liability for someone else's playground equipment on our land. Travis wants to be the lawyer.
Liability follows fault. That's what I
Say
always
that
like.
again?
Liability follows fault.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's not going to try to sue us, because I assure you, if somebody falls, gets hurt, maybe they won't sue Montessori, maybe they like them, but we will get named in a suit. It's just going to happen. But liability follows fault. So if they construct playground equipment that does not meet the safety requirements or industry standards, they are at fault. And so that's where I strongly encourage you. That's why we always follow manufacturer's specifications. Because if we install it as the manufacturer has told us to, we're not liable because we're not at fault. Now, again, we're still going to get named.
Right, we're definitely going to get named. And I guess I would also say if we knowingly allow equipment on public property that we know does not meet requirements that would be required of a city, I think we would be liable.
Yeah.
So that's why I was looking over at Mark. I would say any playground equipment put onto city property should meet any requirements of any equipment that would be put in any regular city park. And we can put requirements in the lease or easement, whatever. Either way we do it, I think we can achieve what everybody wants. But those are good things to put in there, and I'm just trying to think, we've had other situations where it has to be subject to city approval
Oh, sure.
of some sort.
Yeah. Cool. No concerns. I just want to ask that question in public so you all know when you show up at P&Z, they're going to ask you, and then we're going to ask you again.
I just wanted to make a couple comments. First of all, I apologize for asking the question about the asphalt with such fantastic renderings provided. I had not seen those yet. But the Montessori School is an asset to town. I think this is a excellent way to beautify an eyesore of a section of town that just looks so industrial. And aside from the skate park, there's not really much of a park down around that area, so it could be beneficial for other community members outside the hours of school. And I also would like to show support for the long-term lease, which would, for the reasons stated, would be good for the town and also would relieve the need for the Montessori School to buy it outright. So I'm in full support, and I think it looks great.
No, I would also like to echo some sentiment on that. I would be also in favor of more long-term lease, especially after tonight's conversations and also some questions I asked ahead of time from city staff. Much like everybody else, just wanted to commend Montessori for taking the time as well to work towards this great addition towards that area, especially as what's been shared, there isn't a lot on that side of town, and actually runs through my ward, so it's an improvement in that sense as well. But I think it'll be a great asset, not only to the people they serve, but hopefully, if everything checks out with insurance, generalized community as well. So,
any other comments? I do know when I was on council before, Randy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were actively trying to purchase dry run space, weren't we? Just for the stormwater side of things?
We were trying to figure out how we could make improvements through there to get the water flowing better and keep the mosquito issue down,
Okay.
which is another complaint that we get along that run quite often. But, you know, this is a great way. These neighborhood pocket parks are huge. I mean, if the Nordheim Park, you see people driving from town out to there. I don't know what goes on over by the park by Venium that we just developed a couple years back. But I know like St. Benedict School, that in the summertime that is packed with kids, especially on weekends. Families come there. So development like this, but I agree that we need to keep ownership of our portion of the land because, yeah, one erosion issue and we're all in a world of hurt. So.
All right, sounds like it's unanimously in favor for the most part. I think I would also advise to lease as opposed to sell. All right. Do not need to make a motion, correct?
Correct.
All right, we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, a discussion on council rules and procedures. I actually brought this one forward because if we're going to make changes, I think new year, new council, this would be the time to do it. So I hope everyone was able to maybe check out our procedural rules. I know that there's a few we aren't necessarily following that are in there, and I don't know if I want to read those off or not. But I will say there are some things. For example, we have these special work sessions that are scheduled for the fourth Monday of each month. Is that still agreeable to everyone? Do we want to have those after council meetings, or do we want to keep those on a separate? Okay, I'm seeing Emily nod yes.
I definitely want to keep them separate for one.
Okay.
And two, I do think that they're useful, very useful. So
I was so excited for this agenda item, Andy, because I was like, finally, we can write a policy about if the city uses the Oxford comma or not. And now you're here asking us like critical questions, and I was just copy editing.
I apologize.
don't like the Oxford comma?
I love the Oxford comma. You can just tell what's old and what's new, depending on if the Oxford comma is used or not. Yeah, so work sessions totally, not after the meeting.
Okay.
I also agree. Keeping them separate would be good.
Okay.
I would also agree because, you know, exactly to the point you made at the beginning of this meeting, I think most of us work standard 9 to 5 jobs, and if we had to have them after, I think that would really, you know, hinder some of that, so.
I personally am not opposed to like the 4 p.m. time of day.
I am. I can't get here.
I can't do
You
that
can't
early.
either. Okay.
Yeah, same here.
Another question, bringing matters before city council, should this be stated as to who is bringing this before the council to add transparency? Currently it is not. We, you know, Travis is kind of given the go-ahead by either 2 council members, the mayor, or at his discretion. Do we want to put who is bringing certain agenda items on the council?
I feel like to the extent, like, I think it would be amicable to do so, but I feel like upon request, at least from us, I think we can make that request to find out who did. I know that's been done in the past where, you know, I've sent an email to Travis and I'm like, hey, can you just give me some background on, you know, who put this forth? But, you know, for public transparency, you know, I wouldn't see it being an issue, and I don't know what form that would take. Would that be, you know, if we do move forward with something, would that be on an agenda saying who would put it forth?
Would you be good if it's just part of my background notes?
Yeah.
Because typically what I do is I say 2 council members have requested this, because there are some times where I don't have a ton of background to give on an item because of how it's been requested to be on the agenda. Do you think that?
It's fine.
And are you thinking like it would say mayor, city staff,
Yeah.
council?
I just know in the past when I was on council, people would, you know, ask me, who put this on the agenda? And then I have to go digging and figure it out.
And I
So-
don't mind if, like certainly I think if a council person puts it on the agenda that it shouldn't be closed, that should be transparent. I do think that sometimes there's more than 2 people who would want it.
Sure.
And so to say that, you know, these 2 people put it on there might give the public a inaccurate perception that those are the only 2 that care about the issue. So if there was a way that we could figure out like 2 council people put it on the agenda, when we talk about the agenda item, maybe it could be like, oh yeah, I'm supportive of it. I don't know what do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be like, well, these 2 put it on, so everybody else must not care somehow, and I don't want that necessarily. Thinking about some of the issues that we put on, I think it's important to know that lots of council members care about it. It's just, you know, who says to Travis like, oh, can we put this on the next agenda?
Okay. Got a few things here. Interruptions. A member once recognized. We are not currently recognizing speakers. Do we want to go that route? Is it necessary?
I think, at least for, you know, not being raised by Iowans, I have a tendency to feel like council should be discussion. Like we need to be able to discuss items. And I think there has been a little bit of, in my mind, too much like, you talk, you talk, you talk, you talk, you talk, you talk. And what happens is by the time a person wants to respond to something someone else has said, that moment is gone. And this is the time that we do work. And debate, discourse, those are essential to doing quality work. So there has to be some amount of debate. I don't know that there have been times where we've gotten so out of hand. You know, clearly there have been uncomfortable times. But that means we're doing a good job. But that would be my take.
Randy?
I think there's enough decorum on the council, and between the mayor pro tem, they can keep an order between the council.
Fair enough.
I mean, and our past mayors have done a good job with that, and also if there's public discussion and things get a little noisy out in the audience, you know, you can, whoever's sitting in the chair has the right to say enough. So
Okay.
I don't think we need to change it unless decorum changes.
Then I guess my question is, should we strike some of this stuff from the procedural handbook if we're not following some of these?
Yes. Yep.
I guess that's my other question.
Yeah, I think so, Andy, because I think it allows us to show clearly on paper where our culture comes from. I similarly had a similar question under Decorah. I don't know if that is where you are right now, about any message or contact from the council while the council is in session shall be through the city clerk. And in reality, we just say, like, can you tell us what you think?
I also do have the presiding officer shall rule on a legitimate reason issue prior to allowing telephonic participation. So I guess to me, that basically says someone needs to email me or call me to let me know that they can't make a meeting and would like to participate either via Zoom or by phone. Has that been happening, I guess is my question, because I know this is something 5, even 10 years ago we weren't doing, right? And this is, everyone's able to participate now.
I think
digitally.
I think it's important that we I don't know if it needs to be you, actually, I think it should just be city staff, because they need to make sure it's working.
Sure.
And I know that if I'm gonna be gone, I always let Travis and the mayor know, I just send a text. Unless it's an emergency situation, which obviously we all have emergencies, but I think most people are letting people know.
And
Yeah, and there was a change in the law last
I was gonna
year
say
where we have to allow participation by council members remotely. And it's important to understand that the law didn't say you had to allow the public to participate remotely. I mean, you still do, and that's fine. But you do have to allow council members to attend remotely. And so this may be one of those things that maybe should just be taken out of the rules, because leaving it in there might cause more confusion and possibly violation of that law.
Right.
So. Yeah, that's what I was going to raise as well, that it is a requirement that we be able to present in this way, so I don't like the asking you for permission. I think we put you in a hard place of like what's convenience versus what's a legitimate reason.
Right.
Like I think legally we are allowed to participate via Zoom, so as we agree we are kind people and we tell each other.
Sure.
One thing though too is maybe, and I don't know how to verbiage this, but maybe, I think all of us do a pretty good job of a notification standard right now, but maybe outlining, just base of what that entails, especially because I know, like Emily said, but usually if I can't attend or am attending virtually, I'll let Travis know, but just to make sure, there's some point about what communication is going to look like for that, especially in the sense, I think there was a meeting this last summer where I messaged you and you were like, that's the 4th person out, so you couldn't have the meeting.
Didn't have a quorum.
Yeah, and that happened day of.
Yeah.
So I think
we went from everybody in attendance to 3 real quick.
The week before Nordic Fest, maybe. So my question also in this session is that the absent member is not counted as present for purposes of determining quorum. Is that changed because of the law change? And also, that's not how it's recorded in minutes ever.
Yeah, the law now says that a meeting conducted remotely meets the requirements of Chapter 21 for public meetings. And I was just looking, for the purposes of this, the place of the meeting is the place from which the communication originates, or where the public access is provided to the conversation. So the meeting still technically takes place at City Hall, but you could have a quorum with people attending remotely.
And we did do that. We had to have that one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the question, it's been debated before in the past of whether a quorum can be, let's say a 4th council member is participating virtually. Do they count towards a quorum or not? There used to be a debate that a quorum of those present, you had to be here to count towards quorum, but you were still allowed to vote and participate electronically. It was really weird, but the law last year did clarify that and say, if you are attending electronically, you are counted as part of the quorum and considered present.
Sounds like we got some stuff to clean up.
And I want to say thank you in advance. I work remotely and I travel for work. And so I've done, I think, a fairly competent job looking at the next year of making sure that I'm in Decorah on the 1st and 3rd Mondays. I have to say that fourth Monday is real hard for me.
Yep.
Because if I travel twice a month, I can't get somewhere on Tuesday. And so I anticipate needing to ask for, Zoom participation probably more often in those work sessions, and not every month by any means. I already know it's not avoidable in the coming months. So I just appreciate the flexibility and what technology allows us to do.
Absolutely.
I'd like to make a suggestion too. The goal setting meeting that we had, having like casual meetings like that, or not casual, more casual public meetings like that, I think would be beneficial just in terms of like to get together and really be able to brainstorm and feel like comfortable and creative and like more interaction as opposed to all sitting back here. I think that creativity really comes out of that, and I would like to see more of those happen, especially since we can't all meet together outside all together. So I think, maybe like if we have one a year now, maybe that's more like quarterly or like something like that, just to really kind of get the creative, cordial kind of brainstorming sessions going. I think that would really benefit, and it just takes out kind of the stiffness of the professional side of things.
Sure. One other quick thing, just a review, the use of electronic devices during meetings. I know we all have our phones and computers, but just a reminder that please remember that when communicating with another council member or member of the audience or public with an electronic device may be a violation of Iowa's open law meetings. As such, any information communicated during such an exchange may be subject to open record laws. So just a reminder to everybody that we got to just be doing what we're supposed to be doing during these meetings. Any other comments, questions with regards to procedure? Randy?
I got one quick one, because this comes up frequently, it seems like. Addressing the council after a motion is made, after we've been making discussion. It's in here. Should we have a caveat in there that if directed by the chair or mayor, that we will allow that? Do we need to put that in, or is that just an unspoken one that we can do at any time?
That's a good question.
Can
I
be
have
done.
the same question.
Wait,
yeah.
so you're saying after a motion's been made, then we have
According-
discussion?
No, I mean,
Well,
yes.
while we're
but-
discussing after motion is made, it said no other person other than council member may address the council. There have been times
Oh,
where we've
yeah,
asked
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
expert opinion to come and
Yep.
clarify something that we're discussing. And a council person might ask for that, and the mayor's going like this. I mean, is it something that we need to put on, that it is allowed with the mayor's permission?
I think that's a good idea. And again, subject to the mayor's consent. One of the few powers the mayor has is controlling the discussion and how that works. So I'd leave it just up to the mayor, but we could add that.
I would caution, I think it is important after a motion's been made that the discussion stays with the council. But I can see where, and there have been times where that needs to be the exception. But I think it's important to have the input before we make a motion, and so that's why.
Yeah, and in this procedures, we have a very lenient policy to
Yeah.
retract a motion, to amend a motion. Like, we don't even vote on amendments. So,
Yeah, no, I get it.
so I had a couple things. Cody, I love what you said. The dais, I can't see everybody, right? Like, my back is always going to be to you, Christopher, and it's not. It's just because this is the way my chair faces. So getting at the tables, I know that technology for external participation is not great. So Chopper in the new building, we want like cameras everywhere. Yeah. But I just like agree that the dialogue happens in a different way when we're not here and we can't all see each other's faces. So I had a question about public comment. So I am someone who would like to encourage and make public comment easier. And so this is a tiny barrier, right? We open the meeting and our past mayor, so Andy, you're gonna decide what you say. But what is said on the agenda is, does anyone have public comment for something not on the agenda? That makes sense, right? You can't talk to us later, talk to us now. We don't always clearly have a way for public comment on any of the things on the agenda. So if I wanted to talk about the snow ordinance tonight, when would I do that? I mean, I know I'd walk up here and ask Mayor Carlson if I could speak, but I've been around the block, right? So I don't know if we'd be open to changing that language or making it clear how you talk about something that's on the agenda.
Travis and I actually had this discussion before the
Great, I
meeting.
love
Yeah,
it.
and if you noticed,
You solved
I
it.
didn't say that at the beginning. I don't believe, did I?
You didn't, no, you didn't.
Correct.
No.
I
Okay.
made a note.
So, yeah, that's gonna be
So
what
they
I,
can talk about anything, ish, yeah.
within
Okay, cool.
reason.
Love it. Solve all the problems.
Based on the rules here,
Yeah.
any public comment not related to a public hearing, like if you have a
Yes,
scheduled
right.
public hearing that you wish to address, that's later in the agenda.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about the discussion, possible action on the MOU with Wenatchee County regarding the recycle bins, you do that at public
Public
comment
Right.
as a member of the public.
Perfect.
And that's how that is supposed to be handled, based under current rules.
Cool. So if we just make sure it says that, I love that, and I love your change tonight.
Thanks.
And then just a small request, I mean, I have copy edits if anybody wants them, but just a request that we use there instead of his or her in documents. Economy of space. Also, we don't live in a gender binary.
And Oxford, comma.
There's not an economy of space with the Oxford comma, so I can be convinced.
I'm also pro Oxford, comma.
All right, I think we can move on. I don't think we're gonna make any hard motions tonight as far as this is concerned. I think this is maybe one of the work session things that we hammer out some of the details, if that works for you guys. Does that work for everybody?
Do we have, we don't have a work session in January though, right?
Budget.
Right, so my question is, do we want a draft of this then for February? Because I think we won't be able to deal with it in January.
How pressing is this? I don't think it's particularly pressing.
No, I don't think it's particularly pressing at all, that's why,
Yeah.
as long as we don't have to adopt these to like function.
That's fine. I just wanted to have a,
Okay.
conversation, open it up a little bit. All right. Gonna move on here. Board and commission vacancies. We do have one vacancy on Decorah Human Rights Commission. We do have some upcoming board expirations as well, with the Tree Board, P&Z Commission, and Human Rights Commission. So just want everyone to be aware. Got some young faces out there. You guys looking to get involved in city government and be on a committee? Feel free. Any takers? No? All right. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight those, let the general public know. We'd appreciate anybody who's willing to take on one of those positions. Any other matters?
You know, that does remind me, because I believe we used to have a seat for a Luther College student that came to our meetings. And then a member of the student senate came and talked to us. I feel like that maybe was 2 years ago. I've always thought it was a good idea, so I assume we're open if Luther is still interested, but there used to be, especially, I think it was I know Jeffrey Dyke was one of them, right? And they came to all our meetings and they sat here and they didn't have a vote, but they offered up thoughts, which, both from the college's perspective, but also from a young person.
They kind of kept us informed too of what was happening up at
Yeah.
Luther and just gave
Yeah.
us kind of a general idea of what their concerns were as well. But yeah, we did have a Luther rep for a long time before.
Yeah, I think that actually was shortly after I joined, and I know Steve's not here tonight, but I think we had some additional post conversations with individuals in that capacity. And I just think at the time, it's something that kind of faded away, so maybe just re-engaging that interest. And I know the individual that did come speak had a few conversations with him himself, and it was kind of a struggle to have a student that was willing to do that, especially with capacity of college. And I know they're even I think currently struggling to retain members for Student Senate as well. So I know the big thing was finding that fine-tuned balance at the time and that was 2 years ago. But
Yeah, and I think we heard from several, I mean, these meetings don't always pertain to Luther College and get long, right? And so the frequency of every meeting, I think, could be reconsidered. But I love the voice. And then I also think that we do a lot of come to us, and I'd like us to do more come to you. And so my first of many plugs to say, let's have a city council meeting at Luther College. We can go and participate and practice government in the space. And I think that is an important action to say, hey, we want to engage with you, but it's not all on you. It's a two-way street.
And to be clear, I think some of the benefits wasn't actually about Luther College as opposed to a young person's
person.
education and how government works.
All right, any other matters? Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.